Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. How do we forgive ourselves and others of the mistakes and faults done to us? We're going to use the 4 noble truths to discuss forgiveness. The first noble truth is called suffering. We are currently experiencing the suffering of having anger and resentment in our hearts. Then we need to find out what's the causes of suffering. What is the exact cause of this anger? And our goal is cessation of suffering. We want to end this pain. We want to resolve this anger. The path to end suffering. What do we need to do right now to resolve this anger? So let's look at this in detail. First is suffering. We will experience 5 kinds of sufferings related to anger. The first 2 are internal suffering. The next 2 are external suffering. And the last one is future suffering. Internal suffering, we will suffer pain in our body. We are likely to experience a fast aging. If you look at those centurions, they're always happy and never get angry. If we get angry all the time, we're likely to have sickness such as cancer, heart attack, and stroke. And number 2, we will experience suffering of our mind. The anger swallows up our peace of mind and robs us of our joy and serenity. So it's highly destructive. Externally, number 3, we will have poor relationship. The anger will destroy our relationship with others and cause more conflicts and fights. Number 4, anger will create karma of natural disaster such as fire, earthquake, and viruses. Lastly, in the future, we will experience samsara. After this lifetime, we are likely to be reborn in the 3 evil realms of animal, hungry ghosts, and hell. Especially hell is caused by anger. So if you look at the suffering, you will know that nothing good comes out of anger. It's highly destructive. It only creates more pain. Internally, it will harm our body and mind. Externally, we will have poor relationship and create natural disaster. And after this lifetime, we will be born in the 3 evil realms. Now we need to know the exact cause of our anger. There are also 5 types of anger that we might experience. The first is angry at ourselves. A lot of time, we're angry at ourselves for getting angry. For example, I'm holding the Bodhisattva precept, but I got mad at my family member and I remorse and mad at myself. But if you're mad at yourself, that's double anger. You're breaking the precept again. So what you need to do is you need to treat yourself in a friendly manner. Talk to yourself with encouragement. You can do it. You have a big heart. You can have no more anger. You're doing a good job. So always encourage yourself instead of getting angry at yourself. Number 2, we might be angry at others. We choose the world we live in. You might choose to live in a hostile world or you choose to live in a friendly world. It's all up to us. Some people, they choose to be offended all the time. They go to the market, they're offended by the cashier. They go to a restaurant, offended by the waiter. They drive on the street and being offended by other drivers. Some people choose to be offended and angry at others all the time. Number 3, we might be angry about the past. Sometimes we have childhood abuse that keep haunting us for the rest of our lives. Or you might just not be the favorite child in your family. You just keep playing the scene of your mother treating your brother better and you feel inferior and not worthy of love. So that's angry about the past. Number 4, we might be angry about the present. Right now, we're having lockdowns. Everybody is in a confined space, living together. It's really hard to live together in harmony when we're hanging out in a small space. So, we might be angry about the current situation. Number 5, we might be angry about the future. You think about the future and think, oh, that coworker is gonna take over my job. how dare him, or that country is going to go to war with us, and you feel angry about that. So the last three, anger about the past, angry about present, angry about the future, these three are related to three kinds of distresses. A is someone annoying me. Even just a mosquito biting us, we might be annoyed. Or someone who insults us in front of a large group of people, we will be annoyed. Or someone who's always late, we might be annoyed. So that's the first one concerning me. B is someone annoying my loved one. That also makes us angry. For example, we might have family feuds that last for 20, 30 years. It might be the uncle or the aunt that took our money and still badmouth our parents. We would get very angry at that, and we keep the family feud forever. C, eulogizing my rivals. For example, someone that's close to you that is still a good friend with your enemy, that will make us very upset. So angry about the past, angry about the present, angry about the future, all times this three, A, B, and C. Together, we call it the 9 distresses. 9 things we might be angry about. And if you look at all these causes, you will realize the main cause is having the ego of me, of my, and I. That's why we are experiencing the anger. If you can just shrink the self, you will no longer feel the anger. So recognize the causes is very important. That help us to cast away the anger immediately. So our goal is cessation of suffering. We want to be able to reach number 1, forgiveness. We want to be able to completely forget ourselves and the other person of the faults and mistakes. Everybody is not yet a Buddha, so we all make mistakes. Have the big heart and be able to accept the fault and the mistake and forgive completely. That's what we call deep healing. Only when we forgive, then we can get rid of the pain and the suffering. Number 2, liberation from resentment. Free ourselves from all kinds of resentment. That's the only way that your cultivation will improve. Just like if you have a lot of trash in your heart, you cannot put in new merits. Just like a warehouse, you need to throw out the old unusable inventory before you restock and put in new inventory. So we liberate ourselves of all resentment, throw it away completely. And number 3 is the ultimate goal of reaching nirvana. So nirvana, it actually means no samsara, no more life and death. How do we reach that level? It means no more self, no more ego, no more defilements such as anger. That's what we call nirvana. Most importantly, what's the path to end suffering? What do we need to do to get rid of our anger? Usually we talk about the path in terms of the 3 aspects of learning: morality, concentration, and wisdom. In this case, the morality will be compassion. As a bodhisattva, we hold the precept of great compassion. We love all sentient beings equally without any feeling of anger or resentment. We need to put ourselves in other people's perspective. That person's yelling at me because they had a bad day, or they're sick, they have a headache, or they just have low self-esteem. That's how they feel better when they yell at us. So when you feel their pain, you will feel sympathy and you will not be angry anymore. So that is a bodhisattva's way. And a bodhisattva will sincerely pray for the other person, will end his suffering, get rid of the pain inside of him, and reach enlightenment and happiness. That's great compassion. Number 2, we need to practice concentration. This concentration means great tolerance. In the Sutra of 42 chapters, it says tolerance under insult is great power because it harbors no hatred, only peace and fortitude. When we are able to tolerate all insults and all unfavorable situations, that is great power and great strength. In Japan, there was a Zen master in a small village called Haikun. One day, his next door neighbor's teenage daughter told the parents that she was pregnant. The parents were furious, asked her who the father was. But the daughter wouldn't say. After much harassment, she finally said the father was Haikum. The parents was furious, went to Haikum and berated him. All Haikum said was, "Is that so?" After the child was born, they gave the child to Haikum. By this time, his reputation was all ruined. Everybody despised him in the village, but that did not trouble him. All he did was take very good care of the child. After a few years, the girl finally told her parents the truth, that the father of the child was a young man from the fish market. The parents, embarrassed, went to Haikum and apologized in great length and begged for forgiveness. At this time, Haikum, all he did was smile and said very calmly, "Is that so?" So Haikum, he's able to endure all kinds of false accusation without feeling any anger inside of him. That is great concentration and great tolerance. Number 3 is wisdom. We need to have the wisdom of the Four Noble Truths. Knowing exactly the cause of my anger and the suffering we're going through and what do we need to do to end the suffering. That is true wisdom. When you clearly see all the cause and effect about everything, that's when we will be enlightened. So this is how we use the Dharma and use the Buddhism to solve all our life issues. That's a true practitioner on the way to end samsara and reach nirvana. So that's the class for today. Thank you for listening. Amitofo.